But it's a great privilege, pleasure and honor to be here this afternoon with all of you ladies and gentlemen. And I must express my deep gratitude to Mathrubhumi Literature Festival, MBIFL for having me over here. And I also want to express my gratitude to all of you for coming here on a weekday afternoon to listen to a bald monk like me. Who does that, but I am very, very grateful to be here with all of you. How many of you fly? No, not fly like a bird. Fly as in fly on an airplane. Of course, all of you. And how many of you can with hand on your heart say that the takeoff of the flight is not in your control? Of course not in your control. I was flying from Moscow, Russia to go to Kiev, Ukraine. And I was flying on an airline called Aeroflot. What an airline. What an airline. Tough competition to Air India, trust me. Fantastic airline. I came on board the flight and the stewardess comes up to me and says, "Welcome on board, sir, we guarantee takeoff." I said, "Landing, madam?" She said, "You're a monk, right? Pray." Now, we all know that the takeoff of the flight is not in our control. By the way, I know a lot of you are from Kerala and you might love to listen to this in Malayalam. But enakku Malayalam mariyalla. Adukondu njan Englishil samsarikkum. Yeah, that's right. Okay. That's how much Malayalam I did. I learned that from the driver in the car. I asked him how to say it when we started the drive and practiced it all the way here. I did well, right? That's brilliant. So definitely the takeoff of the flight is not in our control. And what about the landing? Is the landing of the flight in our control? Absolutely not. There were three greatest fears people had back in the day. Number one was the fear of public speaking. Anybody has that? When you come on stage, you feel butterflies in your stomach. Number two was the fear of death. Anybody has fear of death? Those of you who are not raising your hands can come to me. I have a machine gun in my bag. We will try that on you, how fearful you are after I finish the talk. And number three is the fear of flying on a plane. That's probably why they would call an airport a terminal. Maybe, I have no clue, But these three were the biggest fears people had back in the day. Today, these three fears have been replaced. Number one is the fear of your battery dying in the phone. Number two is poor Wi-Fi signal. And number three is that Sudarshan Chakra still buffering when you watch Netflix. I'm telling you, man, seriously, you get like too much, isn't it? Absolutely too much. But we know that the takeoff of the flight and the landing of the flight is not in our control. And in between the takeoff and the landing, the entire journey of the plane, there's a lot of turbulence. The flight shakes, the flight becomes wobbly, it's very scary when the flight goes through a cloud. There's tremendous turbulence. And it's amazing that all these three things, the takeoff, the landing, the turbulence, three very major factors of the flight, the journey are not in our control. And that's exactly how life is, I feel. The takeoff of the journey of our life, represented by our birth, is not in our control. How many of you chose your parents, guys? None. How many of you chose your looks? Nobody looks as good as their Insta DP picture. And nobody looks as ugly as their Aadhaar card picture. I mean, I can't imagine why you can't have a good picture on Aadhaar card. I look good. Why am I looking like a criminal on that Aadhaar card? None of us have chosen the way we take off. Our birth is not in our control. Sometimes how many will come also is not in our control. Can I come down? Okay, that's good. Is that okay if I come to you? It's too boring here on stage. Close is good, right next to you. Oh, Birth, takeoff of the journey not in our control. We don't even know how many will come out. Like an American couple, they gave birth to twins, girls. So the husband was very fond of Indian culture. So the wife asked the husband, what do we name these girls? Husband said, Tara and Sitara. Wife said, great names. Second time they give birth to twins again, boys now. So what do we name them now? The husband said, we'll name them Peter and Repeater. A third time they gave birth to boys, twins again. So what do we name them now? The husband said, Max and Climax. Fourth time twins, boys again, 8 now. These are 8 kids. Wife said, what do we name them now? Husband said, Stop and Full Stop. Can't have any more, enough. Trust me, birth, the takeoff of the journey of our life is not in our control. And landing? Landing? If a bloody plane takes up, it must land. How can a flight keep going in the air all the time? It can't. And how can life keep going all the time? It doesn't. With no exception, a flight that's taken off must land. And with no exception, the journey of life that has begun must end. And that landing, called death, is not in our control as well. Absolutely not in our control as well. Unless someone decides to emergency land their plan, that's called suicide. It's not a natural landing. Emergency landing is suicide. And sometimes I feel people, when they end their lives prematurely, they find the pain of death more preferable than the pain of living. There's so much pain in life that they prefer the pain of death than the pain of living. But in a natural course, the fact is that the landing will happen and it's out of our control, completely out of our control. Like there was a 65-year-old lady and she had a 30-year-old nephew. Whenever there was a wedding in the family, Kalyanam? Kalyanam, Allah? Yeah, Kalyanam. Whenever there was a Kalyanam in the house, the word is only Kalyanam. Kalyan is benefit, welfare. Now how much welfare happens, that's another topic. We'll have to do another talk on that, how much welfare happens after the Kalyanam. But welfare, the very word is Kalyanam, is welfare. So during every marriage, the aunt, 65-year-old aunt and her 30-year-old nephew would stand right next to each other. And the aunt would tell the 30-year-old, next is your turn, huh? To get married. Next is your turn. And young guys hate it. Next is your turn. Next is your turn. 6 months later, there was a death in the family. Both went for the funeral. Both stood right next to each other. This time the nephew said, next is your turn. Yeah? Trust me. Trust me. Whose turn is next, we don't know. When that turn comes, we don't know. But the fact is that a flight does take off and it does land. The journey of life does take off and the journey of life does end. The problem is, birth is an event. It happens, done. Death is an event. It happens, done. We don't want to talk about that bloody stuff. Sometimes spirituality is so much about talking about death. Why do we want to talk about death? Have you been given life to talk about death and focus on death? Landing is an event. Takeoff is an event. The journey is what's important. Between the takeoff and the landing, there's an entire journey called life. And living that life, living that journey is extremely crucial, extremely beautiful. We want to make that journey beautiful. We want to make that journey meaningful. We want to make that journey joyful. We want to make that journey purposeful. We're not focused on death. We're not focused on life. You know what? When you fall in love with somebody, how many of you are in love with somebody? Oh wow. I'm not asking who. I'm just asking if you're in love with somebody. Wow. Amazing, isn't it? And if you find the person whom you love to get married to, oh my God, Most times, the person whom you get married to is someone whom you never wanted. And the person whom you wanted becomes the password of your email ID. For the rest of your life, you keep looking at once upon a time. And you don't give the password to your spouse. Because if you give the password to your spouse, they know what's happening. Isn't it? I'll tell you what, guys. Getting on your wedding day is an event. Marriage is a journey. Wedding will get over. The festivities will get over. The sadhya will get over. The wedding food will all get over. Responsibilities of the journey will continue. Getting admitted into a college and getting a good degree is an event. One guy was standing outside an MBA college, filling his form to get admission into MBA. And he's asking the watchman, sir, how is the college? Watchman said, very good college. I did my MBA from here only. Right, so just in case things don't work, you have a good job for yourself. I'll tell you what, all these are events. Getting a degree is an event, a career is a journey. Wedding is an event, marriage is a journey. Birth and death are events, life is a journey. And in living, you know what's happened with a lot of us? We focus so much on the destination, we forget the journey. I want to become a billionaire, but what about the years till you get there? I want to be successful, but what about those years until you get there? Are you going to be miserable? Are you going to be in pain? We are so much focused on the destination of reaching somewhere that we forget to enjoy and live the journey of our life. And that's precisely why takeoff is an event, landing is an event, birth and death are events. Between the takeoff and landing, the journey of our life is where we need to live well. Life has been given to us not to earn money. Life has been given to us to live well. And earning money is a very crucial part, of course. Very crucial part. One teacher came to a class and said to a boy called Varun, Varun, what do you want to be when you grow up? Varun said, Madam, I want to be multi-billionaire. I want 365 cars, one for each day of the year. I want 20 houses, one private chartered jet. Teacher said, I asked you what you wanted to be, not to write an essay. Then she turned to a girl whose name was Pooja, said, Pooja, don't answer like this guy in essay form. Tell in 2 words what you want to be when you grow up. Pooja said, Varun's wife. Let this fellow do all the earning, you get married and everything is sorted. My God. Earning money is important, guys, but living life is more important. Being successful is important, guys, but living life is more important. Achievements are important, guys, but living life is more important. Becoming famous and established in the society is important, guys, but living life is more important. And in achieving, in earning that money, in being successful, in reaching up there, what we are forgetting is living life. Can we forget to live that life? Can we forget to enjoy the journey between takeoff and landing? No, we can't. And what happens between takeoff and landing during that journey? A lot of turbulence comes. Takeoff is not in our control, landing is not in our control, and there's a lot of turbulence. That turbulence is what we call problems. That turbulence is what we call challenges. That turbulence is what we call issues. The turbulence is what we call difficulties. The turbulence is what we call trying circumstances. The turbulence is what we call tribulations. Lot of turbulence. Lot of turbulence. Sometimes there's financial liabilities and loans. And it's so hard to make the ends met. It's a trouble, it's a problem. Your dada, your grandfather, your achappa, your ammamma, somebody took a loan and you have to pay for it even today. Somebody made some financial decision long back and now you are catering to all of that today. You don't have a control over it. A guy and a girl gets married and their child is born and the child is challenged. Challenged child. The child can't get up from bed. The child doesn't have cognition. The child can't speak. Is born challenged. There's a lot of turbulence in life, guys. Lot of turbulence. Problems. Challenges. Difficulties. Just how life is. In a journey on a plane between takeoff and landing, there will be turbulence. And in the journey of life between birth and death, there will be turbulence. I was walking in London and this guy was wearing a t-shirt. It's Oxford Street. On the t-shirt on the top was written, "Please do not disturb." And underneath in large font was written, "Already disturbed." I mean, what more are you going to disturb me, man? I'm already so disturbed. How many of you have problems in your life? Okay, those of you who are not raising your hands, you expect me to believe you, right? You don't have problems in your life, come on. Who doesn't have problems in their life? And how many of you can agree that a lot of times financial problem you will handle? Health problem you will somehow handle. But the problems that people cause to our mind is difficult to handle? How many of you can vouch for this, that the hurt that people cause is difficult to handle and process? One lady went to a doctor and the doctor said, "How is your headache, madam?" She said, "He is out of town." Because a lot of times the headache is not the headache is people. Make some noise if you agree that headache is people, guys. Woo! A lot of times people are the headache is not the headache. Oh my gosh. Are you all with me, by the way? Am I making sense? Oh great, brilliant, I love it. Many times people come to me and say, "Sir, problems, turbulence, is there a solution you can give us?" One guy came to me and said to me, "Sir, my married life, so many problems, sir. Between me and my wife. So many married life problems, sir. Do you have a solution?" I said, "Idiot. If there was a solution, why would I be like this?" Oh, just joking, okay. Just joking on the lighter end of it. To just make the whole serious talk a little lighter. I tell them, if you want a solution to your problem, pick up your smartphones, okay? And go to your wallpaper settings. And in the wallpaper settings, change the wallpaper of your smartphone, both the home screen and lock screen both, to the picture of your spouse if you're married. And to the picture of your boyfriend or girlfriend if you're in a relationship. And then whenever you have a real serious problem in your life, pull out your smartphone, look at that wallpaper. And tell yourself, if I can handle this thing, I can handle any bloody damn thing in my life, you know. Wish things were that easy, just joking. How does one handle this turbulence, guys? Too much turbulence. Sorry to say, but this turbulence is causing pain. The battle of the mind is not finance. You will handle it. The battle of the mind is not just a physical health issue. You will somehow manage it. The battle of the mind is the turbulence that the mind is causing and all of these emotional issues and mental health issues that we have. Back in the day, if you were to go to a psychiatrist, you would be considered, hey? Today, it's a common thing. An extremely common thing. Mental health issues are very common today. Depression, loneliness, anxiety, worry, stress, pressure. So common. And how do you experience the joy of life if the mind is messed up? In this journey of life, all the turbulence that we are going through, how are we going to really experience happiness, joy, fulfillment, blah, blah, blah. How are you going to experience that? Unless the mind is peaceful. How do you do that? So people ask me, how do you solve this issue, sir? What are the solutions to this problem? How many of you liked maths in school? Okay. How many of you hated maths in school? Okay. How many of you didn't care a bloody damn? Maths, who cares, man? Get past it, just go out. Who cares? Maths is just a subject, pass it, get out. There was a teacher, she came to class, 7-year-olds, and said, I have a question for all of you. A ship is sinking, a frog is croaking, and potatoes are 20 rupees for a kilo. Guess what my age is? The kids said, Madam, can you repeat the question, please? Said, a ship is sinking, a frog is croaking, and potatoes are 20 rupees for a kilo. Guess what my age is? One boy said, 32, madam. She said, you're bang on, man, absolutely correct. But how did you get that answer correct? He said, well, my sister is 16 years old, she's half mad. Who asks an unconnected, unrelated question like that? I studied engineering. I'm an engineer by profession, an electrical engineer who worked for Hewlett-Packard, HP, before this journey as a monk. And it's quite amazing. Because I'm an engineer, everything that I tend to explain, I love to explain in the form of equations. Engineers. We breathe maths. We live maths. We speak maths. We write maths. Engineers. Me. So I felt, when we are talking about solving the problems of our life, the challenges of our life, the battles of our life, that problem-solving equation is also a very interesting one. There are two components to this equation, to this equation of solving problems. The first component is called a constant. Like in an equation, you have a constant, pi. Pi is 3.1418. Can you change pi? That's why we call it a bloody constant. Can you change pi? All your efforts, all your hard work, all your hustle to change the value of pi is crappy stupidity. It's shit, bullshit. How can you change pi? Its value is constant. We call it a constant. And in this equation of problems in our life, we're going to have certain aspects of our life which are constants. We can't change them. If a couple gives birth to a challenged child and the challenged child is challenged, you can't change it. If you have a relative at home who's terminally ill, 4th stage cancer, you can't change it. You have a financial liability of 63 crores and your salary is 20,000 rupees a month. How are you going to change that situation? A lot of times there's this component of problems in our life, that component which happens to be a constant. And no matter what you try to do, it's hard to change it. People's nature. How many of you can change your husband's nature? You can change, madam. A loud round of applause for madam. She's been successful in changing her husband's nature. Your husband. Congratulations, madam. No, he made her raise the hand. How many of you can change your wife? No, change your wife, not as in marry again. Change as in change her nature. I said, how many of you can change your wife? All men are saying, yes, we are ready, sir. There is a constant element to people. You can adjust a little bit. You can't change people's natures. An outgoing person will always talk. Look at me. You ask me to keep quiet, I can't. And get an introvert to speak on stage, he can't speak 2 words. You can't change people's natures, guys. You can't. You can't change certain situations. And to change that constant, that pi, is like going and hitting your head. Enda parnu? Sugam?
Nothing.
Sugam? When you go to try to change the problems, you have that constant, that pi, it's like hitting your head against a wall. When you hit your head against the wall doesn't move. Your head hurts. When you go and hit your head against the wall doesn't move. You hurt your head constantly by beating your head against the wall. The only condition in which the wall starts moving is if there is a compulsive alcoholic, completely drunk. One guy came to me and said, Guruji, Swamiji, what is more powerful? 15 liters of milk or 200 ml of Smirnoff vodka? I mean, what a question to ask a monk. I said 15 liters milk, straight, no argument. No. He said, wrong, Swamiji. I said, am I wrong, man? He said, you drink 15 liters of milk. Go and kick the wall, beat your head against the wall. Wall will move? I said, no. Just take 200 ml of vodka without soda in it. Don't do anything, just stand. Wall will automatically start moving. That's what this guy said. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen. By beating your head against the wall doesn't move, you hurt your head. By beating your head against the constants don't change. You cause pain to yourself. How many times have we been in tremendous emotional and mental pain by trying to focus on those things that are completely beyond our control? Mental health is about stopping to focus on the pie. Energize your mind, the book I wrote. The purpose of the book was to help people stop focusing on the pie. I don't want to focus on the pie. I don't want to focus on 3.1418 because that is a bloody constant. I can't change it. And I'm going to just hurt myself if I focus on that. But in every equation along with that constant pi, there is also a variable called x. That is a variable. You can change it. You can work on it. You can focus on it. That x, that variable is what life is all about. Energize your mind is about changing your focus. Energize your mind is about shifting your attention. Not giving your attention to your constants, giving your attention to your variables. Because when you focus on the variables, you can do something about life. The more you focus on the pie, you will be depressed. The more you focus on the X, you will feel hope. The more you focus on the pie, you will feel disempowered. The more you focus on the X, you will feel empowered. The more you focus on the pie, you will feel paralyzed. The more you focus on the X, you will feel the motivation and the inspiration to transform and change your life. Which is precisely why focusing on that X is very, very crucial. The variable. What can I do about it? What can I do about what is within my control? I may have a loan of 63 crores and whoever's taken it before me, and my monthly salary is 20,000 and I know it's beyond me. What can I do to go to somebody to help me find peace? I can't change it. What can I do to slowly and steadily grow my financial abilities to not to 20, even to 40,000, 30,000, 35,000? I can't go from 20,000 per month to 200,000 per month. Can I move from 20,000 to 25,000 per month? That step of 5,000 plus is a step towards your progress. But we are thinking, I want to move from 20,000 to 200,000. That doesn't work. There was a man, he had a son. And his son, he was asking him the table of 9. He said, what is 9 multiplied by 8? The guy said 92. The father gave him a chocolate. 9 multiplied by 8, 92. Father gives chocolate. The neighbor said, sir, do you know what is 9 8s are? He's saying 92, you're giving chocolate. He said, of course I know. 72. He said, he's saying 92, giving wrong answer, you're giving chocolate. Why? The father said, simple. 10 days back, he was saying 132. And from 132, he has come to 92, which is 30 digits closer to the real answer. He should be rewarded. Right. he should be rewarded. Every step that you focus on the variable, ladies and gentlemen, that is what is going to make you feel empowered. That is what will bring a little ray of hope in that turbulent journey between takeoff and landing. That is what will make you feel that I have some ray of hope somewhere. But you know what? The problem is not the X. Not as X as in X. Nowadays when you say X, you know what comes to people's mind? Look at this guy, how much he's smiling. Enda morning.
Nothing, just.
Enda morning. X. Who is the X in the equation? Look at his smile.
The way you speak is making me smile.
He's saying the way you speak is making me. I'm no worry, I'm just joking, okay? You're right in front of me. You're like the victim of my talk.
Happy to.
Oh, thank you. What's your name?
Anubhav.
Anubhav, thank you. Working on the X is still okay, it empowers us. But meanwhile, the pie keeps hurting. Even if you accept the pie, it still keeps hurting a lot, no? That pie hurts a lot. Imagine a terminally ill patient at home. You can keep focusing on the X. I want to love her more. I want to make the last years of my mother very beautiful. But I still have the pain, the constant, the pie of losing her in a few months or a year. I have had a divorce or a breakup. And in that breakup or divorce, I've accepted it, pie. I can't do anything about it. I'm moving on, focusing on the X. But the pain still remains. And I have to deal with that pain. A lot of pain. There's a lot going on in here. Churning our minds. Affecting our minds in ways that are not describable just in words. You can't describe how people feel just in words. People say rate on a scale of 1 to 10 how painful you feel. There's no metrics. You can't give a metrics to how you feel emotionally. You can measure your waistline, 36, 34, 38, 32, size 0. You can measure your waistline. You can't measure your emotions like that. So how much pain do you feel? How happy do you feel? I feel very happy. Very, what is that very? Is there a metric? Is there a metric to say very means how happy? Is there a metric to say very pained? I feel very hurt. Very hurt means how hurt? You can measure your waistlines, you can measure your chest, you can measure your arms. You can't measure your emotions. It's very difficult to give a metric, a number, a figure to emotions. The reason I wrote Energize Your Mind was this. To help people move from the pie to the X. To help people focus on the variable, not just focus on the constant. I want to ask you guys a question, okay? Your Kerala is really warm, huh? My God, I'm sweaty, already sweaty. If I would have sat down, I was fine. I'm walking. You guys are enjoying. You're wearing a blazer, sir. Why? Take it off. It's okay. It's so.
Going on in my mind to remove or not remove.
Oh, the battle. You say the battle is going on in our mind whether to remove or not remove. Take it off. It's okay, sir. It's so hot and warm. God, I'm looking forward to go to a temple so I can take my shirt off also. In Kerala, you can't put shirt on, to go into the temple. Kerala temples, you can't put a shirt on. You have to take it off and go. So I'm looking forward to going to one place. At least I won't feel the heat. Forget about the spiritual part of it. That's later. Okay, how much is the weight of this phone? 100 grams? 110? 200, okay. Shall we go by 200, sir? Okay. Sir is saying 200, we'll accept it. 200. The phone is 200 grams in weight. No, I'm fine. About 200 grams in weight, right? If I hold this phone on my palm like this, For the next 25 minutes of my talk, phone is just 200 grams. But my wrist will start hurting me. It's not how heavy the phone is, it's for how long am I carrying it on my palm. Imagine if I hold this phone on my palm for the next 3 hours. Oh my God, my wrist is going to be like getting numb. Number, not number, numb. Number as in the number, numb to number. And if I hold it for the rest of the day, for the rest of the week, my wrist will get paralyzed. Is the phone that heavy? It's only 200 grams. It's not about 200 grams. It's for how long I carry it. Imagine your feelings, your depression, your loneliness, your guilt, your anxiety, your worries like this phone. The problem is we are carrying it all the time. When I come for MBIFL', I'm brought it with me. When I sleep, I'm carrying it with me. And when I'm eating, I'm carrying it with me. I'm going to my college, my work, my friends, I'm carrying it with me. I watch a movie, I'm carrying it with me. I'm chatting someone, it's carrying it with me. This bloody phone just doesn't go off my palm. Just doesn't go off my palm. It just stuck to my mind. That hurt that somebody did to me just doesn't go off my mind. In the book, I've written the story of how when my father died, the gentleman at the funeral called me the cause of my father's death. Could there be a bigger humiliation than that? That in front of everybody you're told that you're the cause of your father's death. It wasn't easy to take that off my mind. I'm a spiritual guy. I speak spiritual stuff. I talk a lot of motivational philosophy. But when it comes on you, it's easy to sit on a dais and give big talks. It's easy to come and tell people focus on the variable, not on the constant. But when you have to go through your own journey, it doesn't become that easy, guys. There are 2 to 3 chapters in the book on this topic I have written of what I had to go through because carrying this phone, this memory, this hurt, that this man had humiliated me in ways that nobody had done before. What do we do? It's not the weight that's hurting you that much as how long you're carrying it for. It's not how big or small the situation was. It's how long am I carrying it. I am just not able to take it off my mind. How many of you had this experience, just not being able to take it off my mind? Energize Your Mind was written to help you do this, so that your mind feels a little better. And you can't take it off immediately. You can't take it off forever. It's going to be there. Don't think that it will go away. When people say forgive and forget, that's the biggest shit I've heard. That's the biggest shit I've heard. Forgive is possible, forget is not. Forgive you can let go, forget you cannot. Every time that person comes in front of you, the whole episode starts again. There's always going to be a trigger that will restart the whole process again. Which is why I'm not saying that the phone has to be kept down forever. It can't be. I'm just saying every now and then if you can keep the phone down, your wrist will feel better. And then you can once again take it and handle it rightly. What is the purpose of this book? Every now and then you need to just detox your mind. Even if it makes you feel better for a day, your mind is more recharged. Like even if I keep this phone away for 15 minutes, my wrist will start feeling a little better. So what I'm asking all of you to do is not that crap, that let go of everything. You can't. It's going to be there. What I'm asking all of you to do is just take it off every now and then. The book has varieties of exercises to do that. How do you take off your guilt? How do you deal with the chatter of your mind? How do you deal with overthinking? How do you deal with depression? Take it off. And guess what, guys? Even better than that you must do. But imagine if there was another hand that was there below your hand, arm. If there's just another hand, the weight becomes much easier to handle. One way is to take it off every now and then. But second way is, Anubhav, can you put up on your hand? This will become my favorite now. Give more strength, man. He's just holding it lightly. If somebody just holds your palm like this, the weight is now shared. Why are you dealing with what you're going through alone? Mental health, the issues of mental health are because we are fighting them alone. You don't have to fight them alone. Let's take out this taboo around mental health that we can't speak up. Why should we not speak up? Let's take out this taboo around mental health that we can't go to a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a therapist. Why do we have to fight all of these things alone? We don't have to fight any of these things alone, guys. In this entire process, if I just find someone who can support me, oh, how much easier life will be. And that needs a little humility. That needs a little vulnerability to say that, okay, I have a problem. I have a problem. Don't go on dragging it in your mind, guys. Life is being miserable only because of that. Speak up. Open your heart. Speak up the feelings of your heart to someone whom you trust. Take professional help if required. But speak up. Every time you speak up, you take the phone off your hand. Every time you take help, you have somebody's palm underneath your palm to help deal with what you're going through. And that is what it is all about. That is what the journey of life is all about. That is what energize your mind is all about. Where you actually, between the takeoff and landing, handle the turbulence like this. You focus on the X and feel empowered. And to deal with the pain of the pie, this is what you do. Take it off every now and then, journaling, gratitude, speaking to someone, and seeking help, professional if needed, to just get that support system a little bit better and truly energized. That is what will make life fully complete. Otherwise, life is anyways going to be finished, guys. Finished. Somebody asked a guy, what is the difference between the English word complete and finished? He said, if you get the right person to get married to, life is complete. If you get married to the wrong person, life is finished. But if the right one catches you in the wrong one, life is completely finished. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been a sport. It's been a great pleasure speaking to all of you. Thank you all very, very much for coming here in large numbers, and it's been a great pleasure. Oh, thank you, madam. Your cheering and rooting is the most amazing. Thank you. Yes, if there be any questions anybody has, we have a couple of minutes for questions and answers. Yes. Yes. My favorite Anubhav, yes.
Hello. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It was really enlightening. I'm Anubhav. I'm from Trivandrum itself. I myself am a mental health professional. I'm pursuing masters in clinical psychology. So when we see clients from different mental health problems, and one fact that is people are still reluctant to accept the fact that there are mental health problems in their life. Slowly but gradually they are. So one simple question is that when we see clients with different problems in their life, depression, anxiety, psychosis, at times we feel burdened, right? Yeah. So keeping ourselves positive is a great challenge as a mental health professional. Yeah. So some bit of advice you would like to give?
Thank you, Anubhav, for that question. A loud round of applause for Anubhav. He's a mental health professional. He's pursuing his master's in clinical psychology. And that's such a need for the day to be able to help people with the issues of their mind. And his question is brilliant too. Because when you're constantly only hearing people's problems, like people come to me with their issues too. Every day I have to hear so many problems of people, similar to you. They'll come to me, and while they're going, they'll say, Guruji, Swamiji, I'm feeling so light. And in my mind I say, I'm feeling so heavy. Because what they're doing is they're dumping their energy on you, not because they like to do it, they just are helpless. They're just helpless. So when they come and share their issues with you, it's not just words, it's not just situations, it's not just stories, it's an energy. It's a strong, intense, negative energy. Because if it's words, you can forget it. If it's just situations, you can forget it. You can't deal with an energy. And anybody who's into the space of helping others deal with their challenges and issues, they're going to have to deal with that energy, right? Now, when you have to deal with so much negative energy, how can you deal with it unless you have the capacity to handle it? Correct? So everybody who's trying to help others has to increase their immunity and capacity to handle those things. Like during COVID, all the COVID health professionals were going out there and dealing with COVID cases, but they were keeping their immunity very high because otherwise they would be infected. And if they are infected, who treats the patients? Correct? So what are those ways by which you increase your immunity? What is it that you do to increase your mental resilience? Like, if I charge a phone, it'll be discharged in 8 hours. I'll need to charge that phone again. Every mental health professional is like a phone. You need to charge yourself, but when you go out there, you're going to get discharged, man. Constantly keep charging yourself. And how do you charge yourself? Number one, for everybody who is helping others, self-care is pivotal. If you don't care for yourself, you can't care for anybody. You know, when you're on a plane, the stewardess will make safety announcements. They say, if there be a lack of oxygen supply in the cabin, oxygen masks will deploy from the panel above your head. Pull the mask sharply towards yourself to activate the flow of oxygen. Put the mask on your face, secure the mask on your face and breathe normally. Make sure your mask is securely fastened before helping others, right? So how are you going to put others' mask on place unless your mask is on place? So self-care is pivotal. Pay attention to your physical health. Don't neglect your health. Fitness, sleep, diet are crucial. Not just that, have somebody who is a confidant with whom you can speak up. If they're coming and speaking up to you, there may be something that sticks to your mind. You need to vent out. You need to practice journaling. You need to vent out all your feelings. Write everything that you're going through. Write it all down. Burn it, tear it, throw it, but put it all out. Because if you don't put it all out, it's going to stick and stay, right? Do that. Third, practice conscious gratitude. How many of you like sambar or rasam or avial? Of course. And how many of you had coriander leaves stuck in your tooth? And how many of your tongue has gone there? How many of you had mango fiber stuck in your tooth during the mango season? How many of your tongue has gone there? How many of you have eaten barbecued corn on a cob? And how many of your tongue has gone there? All of us. Therefore, I hate post-lunch sessions. They'll come in front of me and say, speak Swamiji. They'll keep doing this stuff. Now what it is when you have something stuck in your tooth, you need to take that off and deal with it, obviously. But there are 31 other teeth in the mouth where nothing is stuck, right? Why can't the tongue go there and say, hey, nothing stuck here, man. Hey, nothing stuck here too. It's not just the tendency of the tongue to go to where something is stuck, it's also the tendency of the mind to go to where something is stuck. But there are 31 other areas of life where nothing is stuck. So when you focus on the positive, is when you'll get the energy to deal with the negative. If you only focus on the negative constantly, what are you ending up with? Negativity. And especially when you're hearing so much, keep the brighter side alive in your life. Okay? Thank you. I think we are out of time. It's already 12:56. Thank you all very much once again, guys. Been a pleasure meeting all of you here in Trivandrum. Thank you.